The fights were all the way across the world, which means we got to wake up to them on Sunday, and I'm glad I was not waking up specifically to the Alexander Gustafsson uppercut. It was brutal, proving really definitively fighting way easier from outside the cage. Get out of there, which means it's time for Verbal Tap, the show that proves it. I'm your host, Kevin. With me, of course, Raph Esparza. Raph, how are you doing this evening?
I'm tired.
You have to be. It's been USSGL all weekend. You had teammates fighting. Worlds is coming up. And, you know, I was just slumming in Stockholm, mostly.
You weren't there. Don't let the people think that you did something.
No, just metaphorically. Felt like I was there.
But because the fights were so early, it was a bit of an adjustment. And because I knew this weekend was going to take me out of my element of usually having my shit together, I tried telling Kevin, I was like, do you watch the fights today? And he goes, what fights? And I was like, I don't know. Are you watching them tonight? I don't know if they're today or tomorrow. Because like, I'm not doing the Swedish time.
Well, as soon as you said it, I was like, there are fights this weekend. And you texted me like Saturday at like noon, I feel like. You were like, did you watch the fights? I was like, oh, shit. Were they earlier? I was like, I don't think they were. No, they were Sunday morning, if you can figure that out.
But the two of us couldn't figure out when they were or how they happened or if they happened. So then those are the best kinds of events because you literally look at them and you go, well, if we don't know and we like to pay attention to a lot of things, then shrug.
Hey, the only good news is I watched Enkamp versus Talib all the way to the main card. So I watched 5 of the 6 off the main card, and I only missed the 6 that were the preliminary cards before that.
I mean, to be fair, that's a high one on the Kevin average.
Right? That's not bad. I mean, if you have 4.5 hours to spend on Sunday morning watching fights, you know, that's not bad. I had 2. I had 2.5. So
I had 2. I have no time for you.
Well, I will say, if people get a chance, I'll give you the rundown from what I saw.
Please do.
Enkamp, Oliver Enkamp, whom you already know I have a crush on. Karate family. Seems like they all do it. His parents own a school. So it sounds like I don't know exactly how many siblings there are, but we know he has a brother who also does karate. So this could be a potentially violent family. We need to know that. But he did jiu-jitsu and striking in a very modern way in the cage. And it didn't go great against Talib. It also didn't go very poorly. Really exciting fight. Talib kept top control, but Enkamp has some... You got to watch this. Check out this kid's rubber guard and inverted triangle. He's training with some people.
I have to say, Kevin was messaging me and like super upbeat Kevin as I was running part of the tournament and was just like, there's some cool things going on. This kid's got it going on. He's great. And I was like, Kevin, I'm so tired. Shut up.
Enkamp's willing to get hit to try and inverted triangle you, and there aren't a lot of people that will do that. It was interesting.
That is true.
Karate style sort of Wonder Boy approaches it, but his grappling we're going to find out he's, I think, a brown belt, and I'm guessing he's been doing this a little while. The next fight, Abdul Razak Al Hassan versus Omari Ahmedov. This one went to decision through pure violence. They just look like two people running at each other and colliding for 15 straight minutes. It was amazing. Great fight.
Wow.
Ben Saunders, veteran of the cage, really did an awesome... he did a rubber guard. Wasn't a very dangerous one, but it was an amazing stall. With like a minute left. It was just genius stall work on his part because he was getting rocked. Peter Sabata can hit. And Sabata, obviously, of the famous family from The Wire Season 2. Volkan Ozdemir versus Misha Kirkunov. All right, Raph. Does it count if you punch them and knock them out behind the ear? Does it still count?
I believe it's illegal, but it's my favorite kind of illegal where you just kind of go, well, it happened, but don't do it again, okay? Oh, you win? Cool, done.
Misha charges in, and I like calling him Misha because he looked like violence in action. Misha goes in. Vulcan does one of those right hooks that lands behind the ear into the head, knocks him clean out. That was the fight. So
It's impressive.
they showed it. It was like, wait, where did he hit him? It didn't even look like he did. And then it was like, oh, right there, I guess. Oh, well, that's not very satisfying. Gustafsson could not be stopped with the uppercut. Teixeira couldn't stop his uppercut. That was it. That was the fight. Gustafsson was able to take him down. Teixeira looked good at times, hit him a few times. Gustafsson nearly ended Teixeira in each of the 3 rounds leading up to the fifth round. It was pretty decisive. Just every time he uppercut, he just hit him right in the face, and he was doing it a lot. So,
can I reveal something to you that I think is important to note?
Yes.
Anthony Rumble Johnson was apparently Instagramming at during the fight and put, I got the itch.
To what?
To go in there and show those guys how to do an uppercut.
Well, it would have been really awesome if he had fought the last time he was in the cage. I wish he had the itch then. He was fighting.
Or before
Cormier.
he retired. Maybe, just maybe, don't retire unless you're retiring.
You know, when you get the chance to get into the medical dispensary business and sling pot legally, you got to do it.
That's so sad that you can't do both.
Isn't it? What a world.
It really is sad.
Just what a world.
Listen, I don't 10p for L, but I don't mind those that do.
And you'll 10p for the weekend, as you've already.
Well, let's be very clear about that. That has an acronym for me going to 10th Planet events. Now, am I part of the smoke circle? No, I'm the idiot that's going to make conversation with people. So I like that aspect of it. I'm really down with that. But then I always feel so lame when people are like, hey, ref, you want? And I was like, no, I'm good. And they're like, oh, okay. Is there something wrong with you? And I was like, I'm slow. And they're like, oh, this will help with that. And I'm like,
no.
Nah, thanks though, guys. I 10p for L for every other way for L, you know? But yes, over the weekend, I will say there was one detriment of going to cover Boogie's tournament, which was munchies, because that is the biggest detriment of stoners. I know that the vape pens have done interesting new things, but if people are just smoking around you and you get that contact high, it's very hard for me not to just get hungrier as a result of it, having done nothing for it.
Yeah, and as one can tell you, those munchies, they'll attack. It's not just, oh, I'm hungry. You can feel it in the stomach. It's like, I got to get some cookies.
Listen, dude, I will tell you, the gas station attendant on my way back up from San Diego was super stoked to see me. Like, ransack through all of the different areas and be like, I need Doritos, and I need donuts, and I need this protein bar because I'm trying to keep, my figure well, and this Diet Coke, and this water, and this Gatorade, and I will have them all. Do not test me. Also, this gum. And they're like, you're our dream. And I was like, oh, shut up. Leave me alone. So
leaving the UFC Fight Night, ask me who Fight of the Night was, ref.
Who was the Fight of the Night?
You're never going to believe it. It was Gustafsson versus Teixeira. It was Gustafsson versus Teixeira.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, it's crazy. The odds were pretty significant against it, but they did it. Talk to us about USSGL. You guys are kicking off. You're in Fresno next week. You're in Fresno. So as we're talking about this, if people were like, I want to sign up, I want to be part of that, you can. You go to Fresno next week. If you're already in Fresno, it's easy. If you're near Fresno, it's easier.
Absolutely. And if you want to sign up, you can go to ussgl.com/register, and you can sign up for that tournament. We are so excited to have you guys because our tournament went amazing, but it was not just a tournament. We had a whole bunch of other things that we got to do over the weekend, maybe the most exciting of which I've had in some time, but we were able to start it off by going to visit our friends down in San Diego. So Gio and Boogie put together this amazing event called Ultimate Mat Warriors. Maybe you saw a little bit. Did you see any, Kevin?
Yes, I did. I watched Eric Medina have what was one of the most bizarre matches to understand as a person.
Tell me why.
Eric Medina had someone wound around him in ways I'm not sure I fully yet have been able to grasp.
So that would be compliments black belt from Barrett Yoshida, Sergio Hernandez, who is an amazing practitioner, has some of the best flexibility I've ever seen. And he had a very creative way of implementing Barrett's game with like a Mr. Fantastic ability to wrap around you. And he put Eric in such bad trouble that there were multiple times I was very concerned for Eric. But Eric had a lot of heart. He really displayed his way through. And I think, I watched that kid compete a lot. And I think that might have been his best performance. And that's a good thing. You want to keep going up on that trajectory, considering one of his previous best performances was going up against Barrett Yoshida himself and having an amazing performance there. So it's not a bad place to be in, and a place to do it because that crowd loved him a lot there. And it's always nice when you see your training partners do things that go beyond the training, because as much as I know our guys really get him prepared for that, there's not a ton that really prepares you for being in those particular instances. At a certain point, it's the heart of the fighter, and I think a lot of the credit just has to go to him and how he powered through it. So, not to short sell anybody, but I know that Scott DeWitt does a lot of crucifix work on Eric over at John Jocks, and I know he's got a lot of great training partners over that way, but I thought it was significant to really point out what an amazing performance. If you guys haven't seen the match, you go look for it. It's on YouTube now. They have the whole event on there. I would highly suggest looking over, and I want to go over just a few highlights that I want to talk about. Some people who really stuck out to me, oddly, and this is going to sound crazy as if I'm like promoting my own event, Kev. Kendall, Rising, Austin Baker, looking over at even Steven Martinez, looking over at Keith Krikorian, like those were all people who were highly supportive of us or ended up competing the next day. We had a number of people on their card who were either in the tournament or in their super fights who came to compete at the USSGL. So if seeing Boogie's tournament was like seeing an EBI more for the community, that they were broadcasting for everybody with high caliber individuals, many of whom have been on EBI, then the next day was like a great vote of confidence that those people would come do our tournament for the USSGL. And I just thought it was really nice. It was good to see Submission Only have a great weekend. And as a personal note, I thought it was fantastic that gi people came to do Submission Only at our tournament as well. But I do want to stick on a couple more things. Ethan Krenlinston, I have an interview with him. We talk with him. We talk with Ricky Lule. For those of you guys who thought his name was Lowell, because people have said that. I promise you. But we talked with those two warriors about their match together and their lead into it, and also the fact that Ricky Lule almost killed Eric. No big deal. Then we also get into talking with Gio, and I did ask him a question about recent conversations that have been had around him and about him. So if that doesn't hopefully make you want to look at the interview, I don't know what will, Kev.
I want to look. I'm interested. Yep. I'm ready.
Okay. Now let's talk about USSGL.
Yes.
Okay. One last thing on the Gio thing. The only thing that really pissed me off about it, I have lots of love for Gio, was that the people didn't run out like the Ultimate Warrior for an Ultimate Warrior themed show. It is important to capture the essence that was the Ultimate Warrior. And since there are no ropes, I just would have grabbed a person and shook them.
Sure.
Minor details.
Maybe put you in charge of, pyrotechnics and lead
I'll
out.
say this. Boogie was watching our broadcast from the USSGL today with me and the guys from the LA Jiu-Jitsu Club. And he hung on long enough to hear me say that. So hopefully we changed some minds and some hearts, Kevin. And also apparently the ladies over at the Mat Therapy podcast, they didn't kill the stream.
That's good.
They set that bar really low and they never got over it, but kept it right there.
Okay.
USSGL. All right, what can I say about this? I can tell you this, Kev. I have run and I have executive produced invitational tournaments. This was my first time producing and making the actual open tournament run. And it was interesting. I think we had somewhere in the neighborhood of like 160 competitors for our first tournament. A lot of people showed up. And more significantly, a lot of people showed up the week before Worlds, Kevin, because I cannot tell you how many people were like, I would, but
yeah,
World.
I would, but I just don't think I'm quite going to make it.
My knee. It was like, oh my God, is your knee injured? No, but it could be. Oh, what? Oh, I'm coming down with pre-Worlds knee. Yeah. So there's a little bit of that, but a lot of the guys We had Austin Baker, who had competed at Ultimate Mat Warriors, came like a beast, won our gi absolute division. Monstrous. He's only been training for 2 years, Kevin.
And that sucks. Just
Gross.
for the rest of us. It's
Belt.
like, are you fucking kidding?
And I told him, I was like, what are you going to do for your 3rd year? Huh? Be a black belt? There's nothing to top this, kid. Quit while you're ahead.
Yeah.
But he was a sweetheart, and he actually, Kendall, his girlfriend, also won her division at our tournament. So they were a couple. They were a power couple. But then that's not to be outdone, because on the other side, Kev, we also had 10th Planet folks winning our Nogi division, and none other than one Keith Krikorian. Now,
that surprises me. You know, just the 10th Planet guys normally okay Nogi, but
yeah, solid.
Yeah,
but you know, like more like a base hit than a home run.
Usually, yeah, that's what I mean.
But what do I say about this kid? I saw Keith compete the day before at Boogie's tournament, and I've kind of seen of him, and I knew he was going to be competing at our tournament, but I was really impressed by what I saw. So I went up to go tell him. I was like, dude, I think big things are coming from you, and Gio has a lot of good things to say. And you know what he told me, Kev?
What?
Thanks, Mr. Esparza.
Oh, Mr. Esparza, you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And I was just like, listen, how old are you? And he goes, I'm 19.
It's like, over for you, kid. Your career's done. Your I'm done with you.
I got bad news for you, kid.
I'm putting this out.
Take well to be calling Mr. Esparza. It's Raphael Ohafa. Nothing else, kid. You got that? Yeah, Mr. Esparza.
Damn it.
Jiu-jitsu real good for you. Listen, kid. You're real good at heel hooks, but your brain's a little slow. We're going to work on that. So anyway, that kid, great. But he didn't just win. His girlfriend also won in the absolute division for no-gi, and that is Catherine Shen, who beat Colleen Schneider, an MMA fighter. Also, she did not know that Colleen was an MMA fighter, by the way.
That's always more helpful. I'd rather not know, too.
When I do the interview, she just goes, oh, she was? And then she had a moment where she's like, oh my God. So it was great to see those people. It was great to see the kids. It was great to see Octavio was doing brackets. Great to see Eric handling all the transition work of going all around to run and make sure all the tables are taken care of. It was good to see Joey doing a bulk of the interaction on customer service. It was also great to see Drew serving kind of as the tournament director and Blair overseeing it all. And it was nice to see those guys who are normally really dumb in real life pull it together and actually do work, because they don't a lot. Like, they're super lazy. Like, they're jiu-jitsu lazy. But they pull it together, and I knew they would. So it was so great. And I cannot tell you enough right now. A lot of you guys said that you listened to the podcast, who showed up there. That means the world to us, because it shows that you don't just listen to our show. It shows that you're about what we're about, and that you like us and you want to support us. And I had some people come over and ask to take photos with us. I had people say that they were like, hey, Raph, are you going to talk about us on the show? And I was like, yep, and I'm going to talk shit about you too. So don't ask for it. I was so happy about that. So when you see all those people who get out there and they're going to compete, and they not only support my friends and I, but they support us with the podcast. It's all family. It's all love. And that really is awesome. I cannot explain how unique and good it is. But we have a very good community out here in SoCal. And we're already talking about the next one, which is, when is it? Where are we? Was this Monday?
Yeah.
Shit. Sunday. All right. So then Sunday we do the dream all over again. If you guys didn't get the opportunity to go ahead and compete, that's perfectly fine. We are doing no-gi on June 4th in Fresno, and I want you guys to come over here because I am told this, Kev.
Yeah.
Do you know the finishers tournament?
I don't. No.
Okay. The finishers and Show the Art get together, and they have an amazing tournament over on the East Coast. I'm sure you see some of the clips, but they have really high caliber people, and they tend to be a feeder to like EBI or really other high profile tournaments as well. We have the ability to send somebody to that. Like, they would have the option to compete in one of those tournaments, and we really want to make that happen. So what we want is from you guys is to send your best. We want to send the best representation that we can. And the only way that happens is if you guys send people over to Fresno. So get behind that. If you are one of those people who's like, I really like, I compete well and I'm really good, but I hate that I don't ever have opportunities. Shut the fuck up and go. This is an opportunity. Our mission to just do this tournament is $50. And I believe for another 25, you can do the absolute. And guess what? Then you have the ability to win cash. We have a cash prize for our no-gi competition. And then we want to send you on over to the finishers. So we want you to have that spot and compete for them. That is about as good as we can do. So we're excited for this. So if you have any questions, hit me up. You know where to find me. You could also email me at raf@ussgl.com. And the guys and I did a roundup podcast today. You can catch that on the USSGL Facebook page. And I believe that's facebook.com/USSGL. And that's the U.S. Submission Grappling League. And we have it for kids, adults, a whole bunch of weight classes. We're going to be there with wrestling because there's going to be a huge event. Kevin, you saw what I went to for the World Trials, right?
I believe so, yeah. The venue.
For the grappling one recently, the USA and grappling one. It is going to be kind of about that big. So if you guys really want an elevated platform to have some grappling go on, this is definitely going to be the stage to do it. Now, I know some of you may be wondering, Raph, how does that affect Worlds? Well, here's the thing. Medina is going to compete in Worlds, and I'm going to be making my appearances at Worlds Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and then come Sunday, I'm going up to Fresno. So if you guys aren't black belts and competing on that Sunday, I'm just saying there's an opportunity to win money that the IBJJF doesn't pay.
Ooh, I like that. Fighters like that. Yeah,
I think they do. If I were one of them, I would like that.
That's what I've heard.
Come do the thing.
Yeah, come do the thing. And competition reps are reps. You're seeing all of a sudden, you see these guys. It's like, oh, I see him at USSGL. I see him at Ultimate Mat Warrior. I see them at that random tournament at the school down the street from us. And the next thing you know, those people are on EBI.
Yep.
Because that's how it works. You just keep that
I'm
train
telling
rolling.
you right now, if you're watching Keith, I think that kid's got a lot of promise, and he beat some really, really solid people throughout the weekend. I'm just saying, keep an eye on him. He's got some good talent to him. So I have high hopes for him. And like I said, if Gio says good things about you, and Gio is the type of coach that gives you great advice, but will also talk shit about you while he's coaching you.
Perfect.
Then it's really good when he says good things about Keith. But he says, look out for that guy. So I am imploring that to all of you guys.
All right. And yes.
Hey, I have this thing. I know I put this up like a little bit ago, Kev, where I said, hey guys, Sean Connery, blah, blah, blah. Are you familiar with what I'm talking about here, Kev?
I'm not, but I'm excited. Whenever Sean Connery's involved, I'm usually somewhat interested.
Well, here's the thing. Apparently, Sean Connery, sometimes we like to make memes and we like to do silly things, but Sean Connery is one of those people who every once in a while I get asked to do as an impression. Now, I like to give you guys always the first access to having the Sean Connery impression, but I said, hey, if you guys put this on here and you put some quotations on here, I'll go and say them as Sean Connery, which is a favorite pastime of Kevin's.
I'm a big fan of the accent.
Okay.
That's always.
So, as a result of that, I just wanted to say I put that up before Roger Moore passed. And then our guest today, Mark Schipper, he made a big boo-boo. Last week, he referred to Roger Moore as the second James Bond, but any real James Bond fan knows he was the third in the film series. So, big fuck up there. Not that that's going to give away anything. He's a sweetheart of a human being, as you'll find out very soon on the show. But I'm just saying, let's be accurate about what we say.
Sure.
And that prompted me to say, you know what? Last week we didn't get a chance to do the Sean Connery reading, but I'll do it right now for your entertainment. This was we contribute things for Sean Connery to say on our next podcast in the comment section below. Here we go. This one's from Mario Fusca, and it says, entrapment is what cops do thieves. Sean Connery, everybody. This one comes from Ryan Ford, who is the talker, dum-dum, whatever you want to call it, behind the Grappling Central podcast. Let's see what this sounds like as Sean Connery says it. Your shit up, guard, makes me want to shit as well.
See, people, that's the other thing. Anytime anyone's writing it, people seem to have a pretty good understanding of what makes for good Connery. So that's the other.
Well,
it's universal.
You know, you sit there and you think about it. And as you really get down to it, you have to make him struggle, as you said, Kevin.
Okay.
And then you have to teach like a lesson as you do it. Because you can't just say nonsense. If you have a pun and a lesson, you've got the full Sean Connery trifecta. So I'll say this, Kev. Is there something you would like me to say in Sean Connery voice before I put it back in the vault?
Yeah. The berimbolo is the backbone of jiu-jitsu.
Well, first of all, I believe I'm more of an old school person. I don't really do much of that fancy stuff that you guys seem to do. But I'll tell you one thing that really appeals to me. The berimbolo has to be the backbone of what jiu-jitsu is truly about. When you understand the berimbolo, then you truly understand jiu-jitsu.
I just want him to say berimbolo. That's great. That'll be episode 300. It's going to be all Sean Connery. Yeah. Everybody, stay tuned. Hold on.
Back in the vault he goes.
Tune in Fresno this week. Go sign up for some grappling. Sean Connery might be there. We'll see.
I might be there. USSGL.com. / register. Wait, I said /
One of them. No one knows what it is. It's time for some over-under, Kevin.
It's the new ABC sitcom / Kev, it's so funny. Right before we go to air, I have a moment when I really think, like, who did I bring on to take on your UFC picks?
Yeah.
And I really think about it. And I know it starts to make you think.
Pegasus among men have you found to try and crescendo what is a holy grail of UFC choice selection?
So you're on a big losing streak right now, right?
A little bit of a losing streak. Yeah.
One could even say your entire house is on a losing streak.
We've had only one small victory amongst my girlfriend and I's selections, and I believe listeners who are, routinely a part of the show, we've got a nice solid base. For those of you who knew, my girlfriend chose for me last UFC selection 211, and she declared someone named Courtney couldn't win a fight and chose against her. Well, Courtney did win that fight at 211, only to then have a no contest called a month later. So,
which technicality?
She didn't say how the Courtney was going to lose the fight. She wasn't like it's going to be a little infraction. She just said she couldn't win it. She was right.
I'm just saying it's like a fortune teller that says you will die. And you go, okay, but when?
Super helpful. And they see your gi and they're like, oh, probably tonight. Makes it easy.
Nope, still too specific. I still feel like someone, like a fortune teller says, I see death in your future. Well, cool.
Your fortune teller sucks, by the way. I've been to a few, and it's usually a smidge more, but I get your point. I think I'm following.
Anyway, we'll return back to Kevin's.
I know a good fortune teller is what I'm saying.
Do you?
I know a lady. We'll stop next time you're in Denver. We'll roll.
Listen,
and then
I want to know what the Oracle told you, how you die.
Oh, we haven't got that far.
All right, anyway. So, Kev, I decided since you're on a losing streak, it was important to bring the only person recorded in history who has ever lost twice to you on this show.
You brought TP Grant back?
No.
For a triple crown of loss?
I brought one of his friends.
Fuck that. First of all, no, calling bullshit. Fact check,
Why?
TP Grant has friends. You're going to say on this podcast in front of other people.
I'd say more of an acquaintance, so he might be right there.
Whew. Thank God. Okay.
Now, this could be an additional factor, which is, for my own entertainment, that if I bring him on, and he insults you and TP, it's the most amusing to me.
Just a big win.
So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, for your entertainment, listening, viewing, whatever you're listening to this on, pleasure, we have brought a good friend of our shows who, he's a writer. You may see his work. He freelances for a number of publications, Bleacher Report. He's now working for My DNA. Like, what the fuck is this website? I don't know what you write for now. What is this?
DNA Info is big news out here in Chicago. It's like a competition with the Tribune and Sub-Times, but it's all online. So it's like a next generation news outlet. Digital video, digital radio, everything published online. And the two big dailies are the competition, but I'm not writing too much for them these days. Chicago Magazine is one of my big outlets, and whoever else is good enough to take my work.
Fair enough. Well, now that he's spoken, this ominous voice that's come on, please, ladies and gentlemen, say hello to Mark Schipper. Mark, how you doing, sir?
I'm great. Thanks, guys, for having me on. This is one of the great honors of my life so far to this point.
Oof. Well, we got to work on that. Kev.
It's been a slow life.
His Chicago sarcasm is just laced with grittiness. I can hear it already.
You know, don't worry, Kevin. When they get the Chicago sports beat writer on the NBC Chicago series,
that's going to be its own series at this rate.
Chicago
just called
Journal.
Sports Right. Yeah, Chicago Journal. So hitting the hard street. Hey, I got to tell you, that one I would tune in for. And based off of just gut reactions, Mark sounds like someone that has access to good street food. That's just how he sounds. I'm not liking this choice, Raph, but I'll entertain it.
Okay, so Mark, tell us, why do you have to indulge TP Grant? Because you were entertained by our exchanges, and you acknowledge the fact that he obsesses too much on fencing, correct?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. He obsesses too much on everything that he gets going on. TP is great because you'll tweet something fairly innocuous and just kind of a personal opinion, but if there's anything even slightly wrong about it from his perspective, he'll catch you in the mentions. You know, you'll tweet 1,000 times stuff that you think he should probably engage on, or just on a friendly level, and you'll get nothing. But the second you make a mistake, TP is there to correct you and set you back on the right path, which I always love.
I enjoy the fact that he thinks he's funny on occasion, and then he plays into my world with that exact scenario. So he thinks he's saying something funny, and then I'll have to correct him like, actually, the joke works like this. But kid, keep up the good work. You got a lot of hair, a lot of gusto, and your knee bar this week that you showed in that video wasn't bad. So,
Yeah, he's got a few things going for him. Yeah, I indulge him. I have to indulge him because he's a higher ranked belt than me in an affiliate in our academy.
That's
he's actually
a policy that does not need to follow through.
He's a great guy. I contacted him out of nowhere. I happened to come across a piece he wrote on Bloody Elbow, and it was crazy because I went on Twitter and he had my jiu-jitsu academy as a place he trained, and he'd moved out to the suburbs at the time. I still trained in the city, and so I just hit him up on Twitter and said, "Hey man, you train at the same spot. I read this piece, I liked it." And next thing you know, he invited me out to watch a UFC card, and he's been a great guy ever since. So TP's a good guy, despite the other things we could talk about.
Understandable. Now we're going to get to talking about some of the fun stuff you have coming up. But Kev, level with us.
Yeah.
Do you want to now take down one of TP's acquaintances?
I would like owning Chicago feels good. That feels good to put on your byline, especially I haven't had a lot of victories. And if there's a place that knows what that feels like, it's Chicago, and I would like to keep them down at the bottom. We need them there, right? Otherwise, how do we elevate?
To be fair, Kevin, Chicago has been on an upswing, relatively speaking, for winning in sports more than they have in the past.
Yeah, but it's almost NFL season, so the crushing reality will be back soon.
Don't look for a Bears defense from this quarter. I'm not originally from Chicago, so please, if you want to go in on the Bears, God bless you, and go hard.
Perfect. Where are you from originally?
I grew up outside of Minneapolis, so I'm a Vikings guy. Now, if you want to go in on the Vikings, that might be fighting words.
Oh, finding the Achilles heel very quickly here. Okay. All right. Now, Mark, talk to me about this. You do jiu-jitsu as well.
I do.
was the fascination? Like, why are you a jiu-jitsu person? Like, why are you crazy like us?
Crazy hobby. It's a stupid
Yeah,
habit that
it is. It's insane.
you
It's an
volunteer
addiction,
to
an
do.
obsession. I mean, I'm in there 5 days a week on average. 6 or 7 days is not unheard of by any stretch. The thing that I went in there for exercise. You know, I boxed a little bit to try and stay in shape. I grew up playing all the big three sports: football, basketball, baseball. I should have played hockey out of Minneapolis, but that's a whole nother story. But I was looking for a way to stay in shape, and I went into this academy, and it's one of those like best case scenario jiu-jitsu academies that you read about, with the attitude, the atmosphere, the people, and then the training itself. I found the mental, physical, spiritual stimulation to be maxing out. And so I get in there every day, and it's that cliched phrase, mat therapy. That's what it is to me. So rather than go to the therapist and talk it out, I go to jiu-jitsu and train it out, and then chat it out with the bros and sisters afterwards. And it's just like I feel like it's by far the healthiest thing I do.
I really enjoy the fact that you called the concept mat therapy super cliche. Not like we would be foolish enough to name our podcast that. Because it's so cliche.
That would be embarrassing.
Oh, man. I hope another podcast doesn't name
Bullet
themselves
dodged.
such a
We'll tell them all.
ridiculous
Surely
cliche. We'll get to that later.
Surely they wouldn't.
Now, Mark, tell us what kind of things do you write? Because I know you have a little bit of experience doing some writing for the MMA and for the jiu-jitsu, but what other stuff do you write about?
I'm a general reporter, so I cover just about everything. I really got my break in Chicago as a professional writer, as a crime reporter. I cover a couple police districts in the city out here. So I write a police blotter every week for some weekly newspapers in Chicago. And that was kind of my gateway into the bigger papers, which is I had unique access to crime stories and unique access to police officers, which jiu-jitsu only increased. Actually, we train with a bunch of coppers out here who are really salt of the earth. I know a lot of times, especially nationally, Chicago cops.
Stop.
Yeah.
You just said coppers. I'm sorry. Is this podcast happening in the 1920s? I'm not sure.
I was like, I got to visit this academy. It's under, there's a revolving library door. You push through and it reveals mats.
Yeah. That's the phrase I use, man. I don't know. It's funny because I actually call when I talk to cops. Sometimes I'll say like, yeah, your fellow copper or whatever, and I don't know. It's kind of an inside joke, I guess. Police officers or whatever you'd like to refer to them as. I've met more of them in jiu-jitsu, and it's actually helped my police writing. Some of these guys talk to me kind of off the record, but I can use them as sources. So, But I mean, I cover anything from city hall meetings to breaking news to bills being passed to whatever. A general reporter, and actually, I started as a sports writer originally, so I'm kind of game for whatever. And I'd love to use writing to kind of travel the world and write things as I see them is what I'm trying to do.
Now, what I want to do is take a time out here. Kev, I'm going to look at you directly as I say this. And when I say directly, I mean over the interwebs.
Yeah.
Do you see the evil plan that I put out here, Kevin?
I do see the evilness.
What do you think I'm doing here?
You brought someone I like and have a lot of questions for. Crime beats? Are you fucking joking? This is amazing. And this is part of Rap's bullshit to get me off my game for UFC picks.
It's not to get you off the game. Stay in the fucking moment.
I'm
Kevin.
lost. I don't even remember why he was here.
Stop listening.
No.
Stop listening. This will give away all the secrets. But Kev, here it is. You know what's really big in podcasts right now?
Crime. Real crime.
True crime.
Yeah.
So now it's a crossover. It's Verbal Tap crossover with true crime and UFC picks. This is the most genius thing I've ever done.
This is perfect. I agree. We need a true crime. Why haven't we had a true crime reporter on the podcast before?
Hey, you got one now.
Mark, we're going to have to talk more frequently. That's number one. Because do you still do that? And...
Oh, yeah.
Just a general sense. Here's where I'm going to start from like a 35,000-foot view of the questions I have for you. Would you say crime has gotten weirder or more normal over the past 20 years, 15, 10, whenever you've been studying these closely?
I think it's getting weirder.
Fuck. I thought so. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's getting weirder. Yeah, the kind of stuff I see regularly is a lot of it's just outright bizarre, and that the bizarre always makes the police blotter. Always. That's a rule.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take him up on this. What's the most bizarre thing?
Oh
Recently.
man, you're gonna put me on the spot.
Pick any of them. They
It's
all work.
so hard.
So you would think you have maybe, I don't know, 2 off the top of your head.
There's not one that
Yeah.
when you shut your eyes 3 times a week, that's what you see.
Yeah, man, is this does this podcast have room for the macabre, for the sort of grotesque and bizarre?
Yes.
I'm a co-host. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
you're
let
good
me
to
I can give you one that is really weird, and apparently it's not that bizarre, although the lengths that this person went is apparently a little elaborate. So police came across a corpse in a nice upscale condo in Chicago. And this corpse was chained to a chair and appeared to have been strangulated with a plastic bag and sort of like tortured in certain ways, like weird bruises on the body and stuff. And it looked like something had happened. But when they got there, there was one strange thing about the chain up, is that the padlock was undone. Now, this guy's wife at the time was vacationing in Florida. And this looked like, if you read the old like mob stories and stuff, this looked like some kind of like mafia takeout, torture, strangulation, killing. And the wife was out of town, so that we had some weird, like, was there an insurance motive? Was there a divorce case pending or something? But apparently the wife was distraught and had no idea this was going to happen. This guy actually killed himself this way. And he apparently was too far gone. I don't know if I didn't get the full coroner's report, so I don't know if he poisoned himself first or did something strange. But before he could get the bag over his head and padlock himself and die, he didn't get the padlock set off, so he just killed himself. And they found this, and it was going to be a big story. Obviously, you get something like this, it's going to be like citywide news. But some of the detectives did a little further information, and it turned out the thing was classified as a suicide. And this guy had just elaborately killed himself and tried to make it look like a murder. For what reason, I couldn't tell you. But that's the kind of strange thing I'll stumble across in a police report from time to time, which is, talk about closing your eyes and imagining something weird. What was going through this guy's head when he did that?
Kevin. Crossover.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
M-Town? We call it M-Town?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, but
Mark
here's
Town?
what I'm saying right now. So you know how they have My Favorite Murder. Have you heard of this podcast? It's huge. It's
No.
basically 2 female comedians. They basically pick their favorite murders, and then they just have gal chat about it. And it's funny. Like, they're engaging.
I can see that.
They do live shows. They bring on guests, comedians.
Yeah.
Do hometown murders.
Yeah.
So what if I were to propose this?
I'm sure the family and friends love listening to that.
Whatever.
There is some consternation. They talk about that a little bit, but that was if you're going to replace me, Raph, I think we do it right now with Mark. Way cooler stuff.
I would. It's just we have that long-term contract. I can't get out
we
of.
do have some paperwork. Yeah.
But here's what I'm proposing, though. So maybe file this for a later date. But what if we did My Favorite MMA Murder? So, when you lose, you say you got murdered.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you have people tell the stories like they would on My Favorite Murder, just describing how gruesome people got beat up in the cage. And you get fighters to do that and be like, oh, and then he got a rolling Kimura in the octagon. Oh, my God.
At least 25% of our listeners love My Favorite Murder and MMA and are like, fuck yes, Raph is hot fire. And 75% are like, what's he talking about? What's this other podcast? I got to check this.
You should look at the numbers they get for true crime, Kev.
Big fan. I get it. And
I'm just letting you know.
I want it
every
back.
Fucking Dateline gets 7 million women to watch on Friday nights and be scared out of their minds.
Honestly, you two could pitch this to me as a live docu-comedy series where it's like we're investigating the death of Anderson Silva. And it's like him on camera. He's like, I'm alive, guys. What are you talking about? And it's like, of course he would say that. And then just keeps going past. I agree.
That's what he'd like you to believe.
Raph's
I'm
on
pretty
hot
sure
fire.
he would start by saying, I know back. That's how it would go.
And Mark, thank you. That was, I'd say, 7 of the most interesting minutes of the podcast. I mean,
Yeah, sorry for the length, but you asked me something off the top of my head. That's all I could come up with.
I'm restraining every fiber of my being not to ask about the next one because we have a little bit of a schedule, and Raph has a certain idea about professionalism and keeping the podcast roughly about what it should be about. And that's
that sounds like something Raph would.
You know what though? Here's
it does.
It does. Why don't you keep that under your hat, and then next week you can tell us another one. Oh. But now you have time because now you're like, oh, it's so hard. You're putting me on the spot. You act like I'm good at my job. No, you act like it takes a long time to write these things, and that I actually talk blotter with my friends who do jiu-jitsu with me. Which, by the way, Kevin, has to be a great moment when people like have small talk during jiu-jitsu. How's the family? Oh, good. How's the knee? Knee's pretty good. Yeah. Seen any good murders lately? Oh, man. Yeah, I do.
We got to talk about what happened in District 8.
Yeah, brother, you should have been there.
Also, I just want to real quick, Mark's a real journalist, right? He'll talk to politicians. Dare any of them to try any of the neck slamming bullshit with someone who trains 6 to 7 times a week. That's just a quick shout out to the life and times of where we're at, Ref.
I am waiting for that moment.
Wouldn't that be fucking amazing? Like, he chose the one person, it's like, oh, that was a bad idea. And here's where he gets dropped out right into the bench. This is good.
I am waiting for that moment.
Yeah. A reporter that also does jiu-jitsu, Raph.
I also like the fact that the Onion said they invited him to come down and beat the shit out of all of them. I thought that was genius. All right, listen, Mark, we have work to do here. I know you're lollygagging around. You're trying to distract us from the real issues like a journalist does. We know. Kevin and I, we understand the rules and how it goes. So we're going to transition into going to play the game of Over Under Kevin.
As I cue music.
Now it's time for another thrilling installment of Over Under Kevin.
You didn't have that ready to go?
I actually did. I just didn't have it plugged in. So that was so no, I did not have it ready. I guess let's revisit the question.
Like, you don't put that in post.
I pulled it up on iTunes. I got my phone ready. I got the plug next to it.
One fucking job in this.
Close to plugged in, but alas, what can you do? Try next time. You know,
it's like not a surprise at this point anymore.
We've done a few.
This is Over Under Kevin.
A few of them. Yeah, that's
right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, shut up, Kevin. I'm done with that. All right, listen. If there's a first time tuning in, this is the way it works. We basically do a guessing game for every pay-per-view. Sometimes we think it's the next pay-per-view, aka UFC 213. Such was the case this week when I got kneed in the head, and I forgot which date it was supposed to be. Oops. So this week we are actually previewing, I'm told, UFC 212.
Yeah.
Get excited for that one.
Perfect.
Is this one in Brazil?
Of course, by the way. Yeah. Big time.
Rio de Janeiro.
So if you're new to this game, it's pretty easy. We do best out of however many fights there are on the card. I give each participant 15 seconds to say who they think is going to win, and if I so deem it, I give them 15 seconds of rebuttal time. The most important aspect of this game is the trash talk. And gentlemen, I never expect you to treat each other nicely for the next 30 or so minutes. Do you both understand the rules, Kevin?
Yeah. I tuned out towards the back half of the second one, but I think I got it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. And Mark, do you understand?
I need you to repeat the whole thing from the beginning of the podcast.
Oh, wow, you were...
No, I get it. But you know what? I like Kevin, so this is going to be hard. But I can do it. I'm a professional. Literally a professional.
Here, literally? That was a subtle jab at me already. Because I'm literally not a professional. So let's do this, Raph.
All right, gentlemen. I'm going to... You know what, Kevin? I'm taking my time to get my cell phone called up because you did too. So I'm just playing on some Candy Crush, and I could get a timer out and say, let's go ahead and begin with our first fight, but I'm just going to make Kevin wait like he did.
Candy Crush in your spare time?
I don't have Candy Crush. I made that up.
Okay.
You know I don't have free time.
That it was going to be a surprise to me if that was your mild hobby. I was like, I thought you just worked more. So okay.
That is the answer. My in-law at one point was trying to tell me, she's like, Raph, a lot of people, they'll put down their cell phones. And I was like, well, that's what I go train for. And she goes, well, okay, but then you can also put down your phone. I was like, I don't play games on my phone. You have games on your phone. That must be nice to have free time.
Can't train with a cell phone, by the way. I can vouch for that.
For the most part, to my knowledge. All right, let's start with the first game. It is this is an interesting one right here. Let's start with a women's strawweight fight between Viviane Pereira and Jamie Moyle.
Yeah. Okay, so if you spun me around twice and were like, these fighters are twins, I would say maybe. They appear to be ready to go. I'm picking the hometown favorite because she has like twice as many fights. Viviane Pereira. Sukuri. I don't know what that means.
Okay. All right.
That's her nickname.
Let's go 15 over for Mark. What do you got for us?
Well, you know what? I'm looking at the tail of the tape here, and the records are a little lopsided, so Kevin would go with that. He would take the easy pick right there. But I'm going to go with the lesser known, the 4-1 United States of America fighter, Jamie Moyle. And, I like that they both weigh 115 pounds, and I think it's going to be a good fight. But I'm going to take Moyle.
Okay. All right. Kevin, what are you feeling about this? He's already starting to insult your intellect.
Well,
I thought that was the name of the game.
I would imagine, first of all, as a Chicagoan, he was like, oh, USA, this is easy. I'm going to make a choice that just feels natural. And, this game's not going to be about easy choices, Ref.
Mark, your response?
Yeah, well, I'm looking at the tail of the tape again here, and it appears Pereira has a 63-inch reach, and according to UFC, Moyle has a 0-inch reach, and I think that's going to play to her advantage. She's going to get inside, and she's going to dominate this fight.
You laugh. You try preparing with someone with almost no inch reach. It's difficult.
With a T-Rex reach. Not even T-Rex reach. Just
no
zero reach.
Yeah, so Moyle for those reasons.
That was about, it's not getting any better than that. We're going to go to our next fight. It is a flyweight match between Marco Beltrán and Davison Alcantara. And Mark, you're going to start us off on this one.
I'm going to take Marco Psycho Beltran. I know the man personally. I train with him at Redzivik here in Chicago. He's a hell of a lad, hell of a striker, and he's going to fight back from that heel hook he was subbed with last time out, and he's going to win this fight.
Kevin.
Yeah, here's what I know. I can feel weakness. And I don't know that anyone with the name Marco Psycho Beltran has weakness, but he permeates around it. I mean, if he trains with people like Mark, affiliated with TP, that can weigh on you. I'm going with Davison. I'm going to try it, just to be contrary.
Kev, I have a question for you. A very important one.
Yeah.
All right, here's 15 seconds for you to answer this question. Mark trains with Marco. Is he responsible for not teaching him how to successfully get out of that heel hook before?
I definitely think we can blame him directly if there's a submission involved. Absolutely. And the heel hooks, and I mean, it's just good to know, right?
Because I like that Mark gave up that information. I was like, well, that's your fault, right?
And it almost sounded like insider knowledge, which is strictly prohibited, but
it is. Well, no, I actually allow insider trading.
Oh, that's right. It's research that we're not allowed to do.
Wait. When you make it sound like research, I have to rethink it. I'll allow it. Mark,
Yes.
What is your thoughts on having this inside perspective? Do you agree with us? Do you feel offended? Or like, where are you at? Like, do you feel that that's accurate, that we can say that about you, or are we just being mean?
Well, everything I think you guys say is basically accurate. I just think that's true about you guys. So, no, you're right. I take full responsibility for the last loss, and I think he'll be better this time out. Like I said, you make a mistake. You don't lose, you learn. You either win or you learn.
That's some bullshit. Kev.
Not in the crime business. But I was just thinking about that story he told us. It's like, I do have a quick question. Marco, so you get to train with some UFC fighters, which is pretty cool. What's he like to roll with?
Well, you know what? He was one of my first experiences with an actual fighter on the mats. I rolled with him pretty early on. I was, I think, a new blue belt, and he was a brown belt. And it was a very different experience. These guys just train in a different way. They're very direct in terms of what they want to do, passing the guard, moving into position, and working for subs. So it was an interesting experience. I'd like to train with him again now that I've got a lot more experience and see what it's like. But he's a good grappler.
Interesting.
So that wasn't like your normal, like, oh, he's a lot of pressure, which is normally like the jiu-jitsu code for he's brutal. That sounded like no, he's pretty respectful even when you're, because MMA guys can turn it up whenever they want, especially
yeah. He was respectful, but the pressure was intense. That's what I meant about the direct action. I mean, his guard passing there was no messing around about it. I mean, he got his grips and he went hard.
Okay.
So he was an MMA fight. I actually did not know that he was a UFC fighter. He was just in class, very humbly training with everybody. And afterwards, I started asking about him, like, who is this guy? He had a different sort of style. And I said, that's Marco Beltran. He fights in the UFC. I was like, oh, well, there you go.
That's that style. Aggressive strength with explosiveness. Got it.
I love it. I love it so much. I want to hear. Do you have more stories of getting the shit kicked in by UFC fighters or MMA fighters?
Are there a lot of them? I was gonna say.
Yeah, we have a decent amount of fighters in our school. I have more stories about getting beat up. Yeah, definitely.
Perfect.
Okay, I'm gonna give you an entire week to think about those.
Yeah, apparently we have a lot to talk. We're gonna do a 5-part May series with Mark, so. Everybody just sit tight.
He's got nothing better to do. He's going to be reading fucking
books.
The books.
Journals.
No, the death pages, Kevin. He's got to read Crime Blotter all week. This is lively to him.
I'm here for you guys. You guys pay really well, so just send over whatever you need me to work on, and I'll be on it.
Absolutely. Just keep waiting for that PayPal statement. All right. 15 on the clock for a middleweight fight between Antonio Carlos Jr. and Eric Spicier. Kevin.
Oh, I got to go with Shoeface. Okay. Enough said. I'm not jiu-jitsu wise after he, just straight up embarrassed the Danaher Death Squad with just such a technical win. I mean, that's who you got to go with.
Okay. Mark.
Yeah, face crusher, huh? Let's go. I'm going to take this guy's from the USA, but his nickname is Zabrinia. I don't know. That's not much of an American nickname, but I'm going to take him because he's 10-2, and Shoeface is 8-2. 10 is more than 8 last time I checked.
Yeah. Plus, I've got a jiu-jitsu bias here. That might be the smart move for the gamblers.
Kev, do you feel he's falling into the MMA math trap?
By looking at their record, sure. I like the way you phrased it. It sounded more negative than not winging it quite as aggressively as I am.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I live my life dangerously. I think people know that.
The quote MMA math trap.
I'm just saying that if you start playing off of the game of, well, this person has 10 wins and this person has 0 wins, 10-person wins always, except when they don't.
It worked for Dan Henderson for a very long time. Just the totals. Yeah.
I'm just saying it is a slippery slope to go down. Kids, if you're listening, and I know we have a major kids fan base.
Huge audience.
Be very careful about gambling. Be responsible.
Yeah.
I was told by the Nevada Athletic State Commission we have to put a gambling disclaimer on this.
That's a good idea.
Kids, don't gamble. Don't drink and drive. Don't do the marijuanas. All right, we covered them all. All right, PSA over. Light heavyweight bout. I'm going to start with Mark on this one. I'm going to give you 20 seconds to speak on this because guess what? Vitor may be retiring Belfort versus Nate Mark.
I'm glad he has to go first. I'm really glad.
This is easy. Vitor, the Phenom Belfort, goes out on the shoulders of the giants he rode in on. Belfort is a legend of the game. There's no way he's losing this fight to Nate, quote, the great Marquardt. And Vito's gonna leave it all out there. So Vitor for the win without doubt.
Kevin?
This is great because this is my favorite of the. First of all, barely lost to Sam Alvey. That's not a bad. I'm going with Nate Marquardt. I'm very worried that Vitor Belfort should not be in the cage, but it is in Brazil. He gets his dino juice.
Ooh, their athletic state commission doesn't exist. That's so true.
Especially for Vitor.
Is this his last fight, Mark?
Well, he's going to ride off into the sunsets of the this new Legends division he's creating.
Yeah.
So, yes, this is his last fight in the, quote, adult division.
Hold on. Time out. What is that? Because there have been several articles that have gone up this week due to shitty journalists like you, sir, that have said he is pushed for a Legends League. And there was one that's like, he said, I'm going to retire. So it's like, this will be the last Vitor Belfort fight. Unless...
Yeah.
So this Legends League, just to fill you guys in, I know many of you have heard about it. He's been pushing it for years. So they were saying that he got his wish, kind of, was one of the articles I read. And I was like, okay, so did they approve the Legends League? No, it just said in getting an older in the tooth fighter in Nate Marquardt that he was possibly going to have the kind of Legends League fight that he was getting. And I kept looking to see, like, are we really getting to the UFC Legends? Kevin, am I wrong here? Did something else happen recently that I don't know?
I want them to ask him all the questions they can about the details, because I think he just keeps making them up, hoping for the best. It's like 2-minute rounds, 2 fights. I don't understand why we're not writing the obvious article. Vitor, just join the jiu-jitsu grappling community. Come on, man. Just seminar your way into the sunset. Let's give up on the senior MMA tour.
No jiu-jitsu people take any performance enhancing drugs that have their titles are taken away from them.
No.
That doesn't happen in jiu-jitsu.
Almost never.
Probably almost definitely won't happen at this year's Worlds.
See?
Retroactive, like 9 years later.
It would never happen. But that's why it's perfect for him. Come on. Senior MMA, I'm not in on older guys beating each other up. I'm all set.
Okay, Mark. Is or is not, answer fully, you are under journalistic oath right here. Is or is not Bellator already the Legends division?
It is. No, it 100% is. And we're getting a wonderful idea of how exciting that's going to be. Kimbo Slice and his opponent nearly dropped dead inside the ring. I mean, that's as good as it gets in a fight, really.
Well,
no one will say it, but what we are waiting for is a death in the ring, and we nearly got it.
We did.
So
I wasn't sure if it was the fight or diabetes that was going to take him, but
doesn't
we
matter.
were close on both fronts. It doesn't matter. Well, diabetes should get some credit because it was putting in the front work. So let's not oversell that aspect of it. I guess the thing that makes it a little more interesting is they just picked up Big Country off the waiver wire. And when you do that, that's kind of interesting. But then you realize you're like, oh, man, he's still kind of active. And, yeah, he's had some rough losses, but he's a big personality and people love him. And wait, how old is he again?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. That can't be a long-term investment, is it? Oh, shit. Maybe it is. They're crazy enough to not give a fuck.
So's he. So, match made in heaven.
Let's just say
Bellator hasn't submitted themselves to USADA, have they?
I cannot confirm or deny that. Maybe by the end of the podcast, I'll look it up. I thought they were governed by it, but judging by the fights, the word govern is in parentheticals here.
Yeah, because I know the UFC is paying a big subscription fee to have their fighters tested under that program, and I don't know that Bellator has the revenue or extra money to do that. So Bellator might be the arena for these aging racehorses to get back on the track for a little while longer.
You said aging resources. That was the most polite way of saying it I've ever heard.
And I hope the Bellator media people are listening. That's how you say that. Just so you know.
All right, let's go to our next fight. It's a bantamweight fight between Yuri Alcantara versus Brian Kelleher. Kilher? Oh my God, is his name Brian Kilher?
I think it's Kelleher, but I don't want to.
No, I'm pretty sure it says kill her.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Listen, Mark, work with us. We're doing the true crime thing here, and it really worked better if you just agree with kill her.
We're trying to get the nerds in. Mark, you know how hard this is?
Fucking ruins everything. All right, Kevin, what do you got for us?
Alcantara. This is easy because I don't know what Brian Kilher abs look like, but I know what Alcantara's look like. That's who I choose.
Yeah.
Mark?
That's really hard to counter. He's got great abs. He's clearly in shape. Got some guns on him too, and he's got a mohawk, which makes him look mean.
Yep.
And this other guy, I can't even get a look at him. So it's going to be Alcantara. You know, I can't go against the man here.
Abs wins, ref. Sweep it. Ref, you still there?
Yes, sorry about that.
And we're
Here we
back.
go.
25
We're back.
from the top of the
look at
hour.
that.
It's rainy outside.
The buzzer went off. I just escaped for a second. A middleweight fight between Paulo Borachinaha
Yup.
and his opponent, Ula Whale Bag Bose.
Your best work in a while.
I really was inspired on that one.
That was silky smooth.
Borachina. Huh?
Borachina Bambos. This is going to be the one they're practicing tonight. This is the one they're already practicing. Am I up? I forget who's.
This one's Mark.
Okay, well, I'm looking at these two guys right here, and Ulawali Bamgabos, the Holy War Angel, has got a snarl on his face that I'm not about to bet against. So that's my guy.
All right, Kev, what do you got for us on this?
Borachinha, and this is selfish. I think that one's going to really make me giggle if Buffer announces it elongated for the victory, like, and your winner. Bora, I think he's just going to say that a little harsh. That's why it's selfish.
Okay, can I take one more stab at the name here?
Please. Take 4.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
throw them out.
Because there's Paulo, when I saw Bora, all I could think was Bora. Like, that's what I thought,
Yeah.
you know? And then I saw China, and I was like, ooh, China's way better, but China is golden.
Borachina.
The reason why I truly like Bangbos' name here is because it's basically the start to the song Uchi Wally Wally. So every time I read his name in my brain, it just said Uwali Wali.
Yeah.
So I hope when you guys see him fight, try not to think of that song. Uchi Wally Wally, She Bang Bang, Chi Wally Wally. You're welcome, friends. All right, let's go to our women's strawweight fight. 20 seconds on the clock for both of you. Kevin, you will not lead off on this one because you will. Never mind, you are.
I'm
Go.
going. I'm ready. Little thing called forearm tattoos. Now, you know I don't like to vote against Poland. I don't like doing it. But when there's a forearm tattoo involved, I have no choice. The 115-pound division is dominated by people with half-shaved heads. I'm going with Claudia Guerrera. Plus, Brazilian. Homer. I'm just going. I should just pick all Brazilian. What have I been doing this whole time?
Yeah, you really should have been playing that game. Let's do this, Mark. Go.
So Kevin hit the chalk there. Big surprise again. I'll tell you what. I know a lot of Polish people out here in Chicago, and I can't pick against them because I got to pay for that on a face-to-face basis. So I can't pronounce her last name, but Carolina or Carolina.
Yep.
Is that's my girl right there. She's got an understated violence to her facial expression, which I really enjoy.
I don't disagree.
He is a
with
writer,
it.
Kev.
I was getting an understated violence. It's beautiful. I'm getting a little lost. Plus, I like some of the subtle jabs he heads into him with. It's fun.
I was told that was the name of the game.
It is.
Subtle jabs.
Let me way to break the kayfabe here. What I really want to point out here is on the names. It's Claudia Gondola
Perfect.
versus Caroline Kowalski.
No, it was easier than I made it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you guys are just not doing it the right way is really where it comes down to. All right, welterweight fight between this name too is.
I
pretty
hope
good.
Carolina's middle name. Never mind. I just hope Carolina's varying it up with some of the spellings.
Well, her brother and sister are both the name North.
Okay.
North Carolina, South Carolina, Kowalowitz.
Yeah.
You know, it just Kowalski. Like, that's not a name.
No.
You should only get like so many consonants and so many fucking abilities. Like, if you have a Z in your name, you're wrong.
And if you have a Z in your name or Polish, leave us a 5-star review and let Raph
Absolutely.
know what you think of his last name proclamations. I'm in.
I'm just saying, if you have a Z in your name, and I'm including myself here, wrong. Welterweight fight between Luen Chagas and Jim Wallhead. Now, I did not make up that one, but Mark, you go first.
Wow. Look at this. This guy's got Luen Chagas Tarzan has a rosary tattooed around his shoulder, which is a very unusual place for a rosary. So I'm not gonna pick against a guy who wears it over his shoulder. That's idiosyncratic enough to get my vote.
Yeah. Kev.
Don't know what idiosyncratic means. Gonna choose Jim Wallhead if we're just talking about scary tattoos, it looks like Jim Wallhead was painted with a 90s grunge band. It's really good. I think I've made the right choice.
I just want to point out at the tournament I ran yesterday, there's one gentleman who had really nice hair, like really long hair. And I kept calling him Soundgarden bassist hair. And I couldn't stop doing it. I was like, Soundgarden bassist, where are you? You here? Present? And he was just the whole time he's laughing at me. And I'm like, yep, that's fine. As long as he enjoys it, we're good.
Yeah.
I am ready for this next fight. And I am ready to read it to you guys. Kevin, are you ready to hear it?
I think so.
All right, here we go. It is a bantamweight fight. It is Rafael Ascow versus Marlon Moraes.
Yeah. I can't fuck with this. I've been trying to for a while, and I've never been able to get it right. So until such time as I can, I'm just going to choose against the Rafael. Marlon Moraes.
Raph, that pronunciation was perfect. You said Ascow, right?
Yeah, Ascow.
Yeah. Are you a native Portuguese speaker?
I am. I try not to bring it up too much on the show. You know when you're really gifted at something and you don't want to seem conceited, and then you tone it down? That's really what's happening here. Oh, I'm out of time.
I appreciate that because I never would have got that. I'm gonna go with the Ascow because there was a guy in Chicago named Mancow who did a radio show for a long time, and the radio show was terrible, but I think Ascow is going to make up for that. So I'm going to take Rafael.
I'm going to time out here. Why did you let that happen?
What?
Why? And I don't even care about the show. I lived in Illinois for 3 years, so
Okay.
I knew that everybody would talk to me, and they'd be like, "Oh, you know that Mancow's got a show," and I was like, "Why did you allow a person named Mancow to have a show?"
Listen, it wouldn't have happened under my watch.
You lived there, so it's under your watch.
No, I was not here at the time. I haven't been here all that long. So no, when I moved in, Mancow moved out, and that was one of my. That condition had to be met for me to enter the state lines. So,
All right, fair enough.
You can thank me for that, actually.
Wait a minute. When did you move in?
Late 2009.
Ooh, I was just leaving somewhere around there. So
Favorite type of person from Chicago. Relatively new.
All right, welterweight fight between Eric Silva and Yancy Drew Medeiros.
It's definitely Yancy Drew. Why did they not nickname him that? What were they thinking?
Go on.
Oh, I'm gonna stick with a Hawaii thing here. We're gonna talk about that. I'm going with Yancy Medeiros.
All right.
I'm going with Yancy Grace. I love it.
Mark?
Strong pick. I'm going to take Silva because he's got a part carved into his hair with a razor that is just hard to beat. And a guy who does his hair like that is not going to get beat inside an octagon. So I'm going to take Eric Silva.
You know what that's called, Mark? In the haircutting game? It's called a force part. Just if you're ever looking next time you see your barber. Force part me right here.
Force part. I'd be uncomfortable asking my barber to do that, to be honest.
It sounds like he's thinking he's asking his barber to move in is the way he said that.
I just assume he goes to like a pretty angry Chicago barber. It's like, sit down, shut up, I don't care what you want. I'm cutting it.
We got one style here.
Okay, now, Kev, we're about to get to that point where we let him know what happens next.
Okay.
Do you want to handle the honors on this one?
Sure. There's going to be a bet made here, sir. Gentleman's agreement. We can make it a social media bet. We can make it a small act of physical ability. For example, I have to roll with my instructor in really ugly spats. We're Hibero school, so we tend not to. Well, I don't wear asshole spats normally anyway, but
Debatable.
Shut up. But I lost to Emil, who does. I love those spats. Changing social media handles for the day. I had to change mine to celebrate James Coe for the better part of 24 hours. Things like that.
Okay.
So here's the thing. I'm not asking you to say what it is right now, but if I were to ask you, do you have an idea of what you would like to bet Kevin at the moment? And you don't have to don't tell us what it is. Do you have an idea of what you would like to bet against Kevin? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, you have 2 fights to figure that out.
Okay.
Okay? All right.
Okay.
I apparently might have jumped out of sequence because I was so excited about Yancy Drew Medeiros.
Yeah, we have 1 fight left.
Understandable.
I thought we have 2, Kev.
Oh, okay. Oh, my bad.
But I was supposed to give Mark the last first at bat on that one, but I had to plow through Nancy Drew so bad that I had to do it. All right, here we go. Bantamweight fight. Mark, you get to take this one first.
Did you say you had to plow through Nancy Drew?
Yes, he did.
I said, well, hold on.
Drew.
Yancy Drew, thank you.
Oh, okay. Well, plowing through Nancy Drew would have been better for you, but
Honestly, neither of them are good. If you're really judging and trying to make that thing work, I'm letting you know both of them are terrible options. So,
well, she was cute in a brainy way.
yep.
Well,
still
she
got
also
weird.
probably has good takedowns. Just with her detective interest, she probably did some evasive takedowns.
And
Yeah.
I want to go ahead and make sure that we make this super clear that Mark has been the slowest person to pick up the theme for the true crime that we have been working so goddamn hard to do this entire time. And he's like, Yancy Drew, detectives, murders, solve the whatever.
That's going to be the name of the podcast.
It is. Kev, instead, I have to give this to him first. Bantamweight fight, Johnny Edward versus Matt Lopez.
I'm going to take Matt Lopez because Matt Lopez is a fresh young brawler. He's 9-1. He's got a big Sherlock Holmes-like script tattooed across his stomach. You see what I did there? That was true crime. And I'm going to take Matt Lopez.
Don't force it.
Yeah, you're right. That was pretty forced.
When it loses the art when it's forced. I work at my craft really hard, sir.
You're right. That was embarrassing.
I know. All right, I'm out of time too. Kevin, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I'm going with Mario Lopez too. I mean, you got to ride that train, and
I don't. Kevin, for the record, has said you have to ride the Mario Lopez train. But when you really break it down, don't you wish Mario Lopez was in the UFC to fight?
100%. And I'll also say this: while I don't know that I agree he's fresh-faced at the age of 30, I will agree he is compared to his opponent Johnny Eduardo, who's 38.
Yeah, 38 going on Methuselah. Look at that face on this guy.
You know what he kind of looks like, though? And everyone's going to see this. Johnny Eduardo kind of looks like that warrior that throws the spears at Ace Ventura Pet Detective Animal when he gets out of the backpack. People are going to be like, yep, that guy, that might have been him. 115.
He does a little bit. He also looks like the Axemen on top of the pyramid on, what was that Mel Gibson directed movie down in the Mayan Empire? You remember that where they were chopping off the heads and they'd roll down the pyramid?
Apocalypto?
He looks like the Axemen in Apocalypto too. So
just looks like a warrior, basically. He looks like if you opened up Warrior in the encyclopedia. Might be Johnny Eduardo.
Yeah, that's the man.
Well, guys,
and we both picked his opponent, something Lopez.
We've now gotten to the point where we pick the main event. I put 30 seconds on the clock. I'm going to go ahead and start on this one with Kevin because of his renowned love of Mario Lopez. I'm going to give him the full 30 seconds. And Kev, I guess that really does make sense. You are more of the Zach Morris of this podcast. So, Preppy, You have 30 seconds. Go on.
Timeout. This is a clear Max the Blessed Holloway time. I don't like people that have ring rust. I don't like it. I love Jose Aldo. He hasn't been in the cage in a while, and the last time he wasn't great. I gotta go with the Hawaiian. Plus, I saw him paddleboard surfing with his friends on the countdown to the UFC, and it was like, how am I going to pick against this guy? That's the coolest thing I've ever seen on this show. Group paddleboarding. So, Max Holloway for me.
All right, Mark.
Well, coming from where I come from, right here out of Chicago, and sticking with our true crime theme, I have to take Jose Scarface Aldo. He's got a scar on his face that looks almost exactly like the scar Al Capone had on his face. And we all know how Capone did as heavyweight champ. He had a nice long reign, and Jose's gonna keep it going, and he's gonna take out Max Holloway. So give me Jose.
Okay. No way, Jose. I get it. Hey guys, this is the weird part about this right now. Did you remember this fight was happening? Because I had completely forgotten about it.
I had skipped past it in the summer months. I was busy, Raf, getting caught up on a little thing called DNAinfo.com/Chicago, but so I didn't quite have
time well spent, my friend.
Thank you.
Fair enough. On the same side, I mean, Mark, did you remember these two were both like either champion or kind of champion?
No, I actually thought Jose was like I didn't know what he was doing. I thought he might be up on a mountaintop connecting with the spiritual side. I thought he was walking away from fighting. And as far as Max Holloway, no, I forgot. I had no idea. The only reason I knew is I pulled up this UFC site and saw the picture.
It's so weird. And I mean, this is a weird card altogether. I totally forgot that Gastelum and Anderson Silva was supposed to happen here. And then Vitor was like, hey, everybody, I'll fight anybody. Give me anybody except a Brazilian. Like, we've been talking about this particular event for a while. We've just not remembered it.
Vitor said, give me anybody except someone with elasticity left in their skin.
Essentially, yes.
Vitor was interested in fighting me, I heard. I heard he would take the fight on short notice. It's not a great sign.
This is a bizarre card. I agree with you completely. I'm looking over these fights. It is this for a pay-per-view card. This is a really weird card.
It's a weak card too. Let's also call it a spade a spade. Belfort hasn't been that fun to watch in a while, and I'm not sure he's the better fighter in that fight. And it's just like, Raf. I honestly had to look, and I was like, why does Jose Aldo have a title belt? Just because he did, and they do that? And it took me a minute, and then it was like, wait, who's the champion of this division? I guess we'll find out. I hope.
I don't think they know. I think it was one of those things where he threatened he was going to leave, and they go, here's an intern belt.
Here.
Or do you want the real belt? Because we don't know what to do with that either. Because now that I'm trying to recall something, Jose's last fight was against... Let's go back it was Frankie.
Yeah.
And he beat Frankie. Kinda. At that time, he won the interim UFC featherweight championship. Then Conor McGregor. Then they were like, congrats, you got a promotion. Intern becomes the real thing. So that's how that happened. In case you guys forgot. And don't forget this. Anderson Silva was still supposed to be on this card. He was still at a certain point looking for people, and he had said, you have to basically retire me if you don't give me Yoel Romero. And Dana White was like, fuck that shit.
He'll kill you.
And they tried giving him Luke Rockhold, and he was like, that doesn't make sense. Rockhold just came from a loss, which in itself doesn't make sense. Like, what? This is a wacky fucking card, but we did it, and we previewed it. So now let's come up with the tiebreakers. In the event of a tiebreaker, we do the two performances of the night and the fight of the night. Kevin, I'm going to start by asking you, which is which?
This is easy for me. First performance of the night goes to Holloway. Second performance of the night goes to... Oh, what was his name? Hold on. Yancey Drew. And
nice.
Fight of the night is Borachina Bambos.
Borachina?
Borachina. And I'm basically choosing that one on body fat percentage and weight.
All right. What do you got for us, Mark?
All right, I'm into one performance of the night. Give me Vitor. Vitor in his swan song.
I like
You know what?
that
I
you're
don't think
doubling down on the
Yeah,
Vitor
you're doubling
train.
down.
I love
That's
it.
a dangerous game, sir.
Doubling down on the phenom because you know what? I don't think he cares if he gets popped or not. He's gonna hit the juice to the limit. He's gonna cycle the best he can. But if he gets busted, no problem. He's gonna go out on top. So give me Vitor. And you know what? I'm gonna play my lucky rabbit's foot. I want to take Marco the Psycho Beltran in the early prelims.
Good
Wow.
teammate. Good teammate choice, if anything.
Exact performance of the night. So let's go with Beltran, and then fight of the night. You know what? I'm gonna be real boring about this. Give me the Aldo Holloway.
It always.
I think these two warriors are gonna leave it out there.
The main card gets something. Whether it's performance of the night or fight of the night, it's gotta be on your. It just always does. There's no.
If you're being smart and you want to bet on somebody getting something, even if they deserve it or not, bet on Jose Aldo.
He's holding a belt. Yeah,
He's got a belt because of it, so no big deal.
Yeah.
All right, well, gentlemen, we made our way through all of the picks. I think it's time to get to the business matter of it. We always defer to our guests. We gave you time to think about it. Now, I'm going to come back and ask you, do you have an idea for a bet, Mark?
Yeah, I do. I think for the day, the loser needs to change their Facebook page to the official headquarters of the AJ Agazaram fan club.
Oh my God.
It has to be subtitled where the Florida boy comes to party or something of that nature.
Oh, shut up. You said enough. We're the Florida boy. I'm writing this down just so it's here. Where the Florida boy comes to party. If you had me at true crime, but now I think I've genuinely got a little bit of a crush, Raf. There it is. I accept.
Well,
that's a great
let's
bet.
do this.
That's fucking amazing.
Mark.
What a wager.
Mark, this is honestly, I don't think other people have done different things that have entertained me, but this is the one that actually neither affects both of you personally, except for the people who would then have to see you do it.
My team is certainly going to be like, what? What was that?
And it's very possible I would see AJ at Worlds this weekend and be like, yo, have you seen this?
Just a heads up.
Just saying.
This was the bet.
Well, guys, listen, all good things have to come to an end, but not too much of an end. So as we've already been previewing throughout this episode, we always invite the people who do Over Under Kevin to come back the week after and talk with us about the fights. Mark, would you be up for doing that with us next week?
Yeah, I definitely would, and I can comb through the crime blotters and hopefully bring back some good and shorter stories for you guys.
Oh, you better. And
more and longer. So, I'm all in.
Is definitely the way to go. Mark, if people are looking to read your stuff, where can they go?
You know what? Just find me at My Times Pros on Twitter. I'm on quite a bit. I do a horrible job of self-promoting, but I do hang out there. Sometimes I watch movies on there and tweet along and do a lot of stuff. So you want to hang out, come to My Times Pros, and I'll see you there.
What's the last movie you tweeted out? I'm not sure I saw it.
Looking for it as we speak.
Oh, man. It's been a while since I sat down with the movie tweet. You know what? An old school movie that I did is you know what? The last one actually was Top Gun. We had the 30 whatever birthday of Top Gun last week, I think, and I got quite a few Top Gun tweets off. So that was a hell of a night.
Can I be forthcoming?
Yeah, please.
Thank you. I think it's important to note, Kevin, why Mark here is a special breed. He referred to the commemorative year for Top Gun that we are celebrating currently as a birthday. Like a movie had a birthday, which makes me believe he had a cake and he was like, it's Tom Cruise, and before you blow out the candles, you have to say, take my breath away, and then you have to and then...
Oh, man. Yeah, in addition to the Twitter post, I definitely threw up an Instagram picture of, Tom Cruise and Kelly McGillis and said, I think I hashtagged it Kelly McGillis and Sexual Awakenings or something of that sort.
Oh my
So
God, you got too far. You can do all the true crime you want, but we get to the hashtag.
I found one tweet from May 16th. I screwed this up. Damn it. Tom Skerritt is Viper. Ironside is Chester.
one thing about a reporter is strict accuracy is important no matter what the topic. So, that was very embarrassing for me, actually.
Kevin was the most brilliant. Kev, you know what? From now on, we're imposing a strict policy of they have to give up their Twitter handle before we start the game.
100%. And let us know if they've live tweeted Top Gun in the last 8 months. That should be mandatory. 100%. As a group, can we do Cobra soon? Is everybody in?
100%. I love Cobra.
No, I'm definitely in on that.
I'm the answer.
Cabretti.
Wait, what's his name again, Kevin?
Cabretti.
What's his full name?
Cabretti.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, before this turns from True Crime Podcast to MMA Podcast into a movie podcast, let's go ahead and break here. If people are going to go follow you, My Times Pros, correct? That is the Twitter handle?
Correct.
This gentleman is writing all over the place. He writes very decent articles. Otherwise, I wouldn't pull him on here. Mostly because we like people who can do other things besides jiu-jitsu and the MMA. And he's somebody who I know whenever we have fights going on, he is always active. He is always fun and friendly to interact with. So it has been a pleasure to go ahead and get this introduction with you, sir. We look forward to having you back next week.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. I look forward to being back. A lot of fun. Thanks, guys.
Ref, Mark Schipper. The old Schipper, we got to come up with a cool nickname because I want to go to the Mark Corner much more frequently.
Do you want to call him the Wood Chipper?
Ooh, that's good. Like a little, let's, I don't want to get attached yet because there's a lot to,
I actually prefer to call him the Wood Chipper.
That would sound the same in the Connery voice. A lot of fun.
Stay in the fucking ball.
Connery has no rules. Much like his, I was about to say his sex life. So that's not staying in the vault. He's still
every time
on Harvard's campus right now. Anyway, gotta have Mark on more often. Brought true crime, and you and I have been working on a serial S-Town transition on this very podcast, Verbal Tap. I mean, when we cracked that John Jones story, everything really fell into line for us, and tonight we got to live that out, and I thought that was beautiful.
Yup.
I do want to, as we enter in the shout-outs category, I'm going to start by explaining I have a busted knuckle. I don't get to train as much anymore, Ref. I'm going to be out for probably about 3 months, all said and done with some surgery. It's complicated. No one cares about my knuckle that much, but it certainly makes the shout-outs even tougher because I can't go get beat up by my friends on a frequent basis. But the Jubera crew has been very supportive throughout, as have you. So my shout-outs to the team at Kaiser Medical. We're doing a bang-up job diagnosing, and it was my easiest MRI to date. I had a great view. She put me in the big MRI machine room because I seem nice. So apparently there's an insider tip. If just a little aggressive flirting with the nurse. I would have brought her coffee if I knew.
Simple. Let's put him here.
He looks nervous. Where's the big one with the extra door? She was great. The whole team's been great, but it's, going to be a tough road without my main therapist, aka jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. I
should be okay though. We'll find out some more this week and when I can get back to training.
Good.
And Ref, that's going to do it for me. I've had a shut-in weekend while I've been dealing with this stuff. Just sort of let it go. I don't know. I'd like to shout out Bryce Harper for bringing some MMA to the MLB today when he charged the mound. I thought that was great.
Thanks. I'm glad.
Have you seen it yet? Have you seen the clip?
When
he goes to throw his helmet at him, and first of all, he did get hit right in the hip, and it does look intentional. But that's not the point. He throws his helmet and completely misses. And then I swear it looks like Bryce knows not to throw his full punch because he's like, I can't break this thing. You know, this is the moneymaker. It's great.
Sigh. All right. Well, like I said, it was a long week for us. So let's start with some obvious ones. We want to thank the crew at the Ultimate Mat Warriors. You guys did such a good job. It is hard to put these things on and to really make the community feel at home. I think that's one of the best things that you can really be a part of. Boogie couldn't have been more accommodating to me. I just went up to him and I was like, what do you want me to do and wear? And he's like, brother, this is your art, okay? I was just like, wow, thanks, Boogie. I appreciate that. He's just like, he just goes, nah, man, what I do is my art and this is your art. So you have to do your art and like do it wherever, man. Like, don't let anybody tell you what to do. Cause like, shit, man, like, just fucking go where you want, I guess was what I'm saying. And I was like, shit, yeah, I am. I mean, I was going to do it anyway, but Boogie, like, the fact that you say that, oh.
Yeah, that is nice.
Right here, my man. Thank you. So anyway, everybody there, great. Love seeing the community. Love seeing those competitors. A lot of them did fantastic. There weren't a ton of small or lighter moments. It's always good to see our friends, you know, like Steven Martinez, his wife, Blanca, Octavio, Drew, Eric competing like a beast. So proud of him. Cannot stress how proud we were of him and his performance. Bonnie, just all of us as like our own little tribe went down that way. We did our thing, and then we came back up. I also want to send a shout out to Juan Bernardo. Unfortunately, he was not able to compete for us. He competed at Ultimate Mat Warriors. He got a little injured, and then he was still trying to find ways to compete. And then at one point, the medic is like looking at him, and he goes, oh, let me go ahead and tape you up for your tournament that you were telling me about tomorrow. And I was like, oh, he's not competing. And Juan's like, sure I am. And I was like, wait, no, you're not. I'm in charge. How dare you? No, you can't. And he went home, and he was actively trying to grapple with his girlfriend to see how much he could do to go around the injury. And I was like, no, you probably should not. And he finally took my advice. So anyway, Juan, thank you very much for the support. We appreciate that. And if I missed you from the Ultimate Mat Warriors, I'll come back around it on another podcast. But again, biggest credit goes to Boogie, Ethan, Ricky, Gio. Thank you for your time. Great interviews. I think you guys will like them. And let's go ahead and start with, the USSGL. First and foremost, it starts with my gang at Valley Martial Arts Center.
Be back!
That was like a little delayed. I wasn't sure if that was going to happen.
I was building up and I almost choked.
Okay.
I'm fine. And you don't want to do that like into the mic, so I leaned away while I was struggling to breathe. Took too deep a breath, kids. Everybody at home knows exactly what I'm talking about. You go to talk really fast, you're like,
The end of Kevin's Dateline episode's just not going to be all that fulfilling. It's
No.
gonna be like, and then
he choked on some popcorn.
Podcasting with Raph.
Yeah, it was that simple.
Very end of the night. Took in too much of a breath.
Died doing what he loved, smoking weed while trying to scream about something political.
That's true. So anyway, my crew over at Valley Martial Arts Center, I'm talking KC Blondo, I'm talking Bonnie Marie Staley. They came to represent Valley Martial Arts Center. They did a great job.
Be back! Oh, no,
They
my
also,
bad.
thank you.
I'll put it back
We
in
did it. But I was so happy that I had people from my gym coming as well. I know it's a little bit of drive, and I love the fact that they were volunteering and helping out. So always appreciate that. I got to say to all of our refs, our staff, our volunteers, our runners, our door people, strangers who didn't look at us weird when we were carrying mats back and forth everywhere. Everybody. We just had such a pleasant experience. And we know that things can always be improved. But I've been to a lot of tournaments, and all things considered, for our very first tournament, when you're starting about 15 minutes late, and the reason is because you're getting so many new people registering and at the front door looking to come in as audience members, it's not the worst problem in the world, because we were able to make up that time in between gi and no gi. So I felt really happy about that. I just want to thank all the big schools that came. Like I said, I know it's a rough week. It's Worlds. A lot of people were giving excuses. I want to give credit to all the competitors. This is a really big one for me, Kev. Because a lot of people talk about anytime, any place, any rules, whatever. I do it. I'm all about that life. And you're like, hey, can you do it Sunday? Wait, who's in my bracket?
Sunday is no good.
Ooh, no. My knee. I got pre-world's knee.
Pre-world's knee.
But there are a number of people who were willing to compete against anybody. Those are our people because they truly get what sub-only is about. But I don't even think sub-only gets to call that and claim it its own. I think people who are truly jiu-jitsu artists just do that. And it's okay to have a preference and want to, it's okay to like points. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if I had a kid and he came up to me and said, Dad, I like points, I'd be like, I knew this day was coming. Did you have to like points though, son? And be like, Dad, I feel like you give up too many opportunities if you don't have points involved. It's just giving up position. But you need to give up position to try and get this. You know what, son? It's fine. I love you anyway for who you are. Okay?
We're just going to go take a quick trip to see Uncle Hodger real quick.
I'm just going to heel hook you all the time, son. Until you understand that heel hook should be allowed in the gi because that's a thing. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm losing my train of thought going off here. What I am saying, though, is this. It's fine, whatever rule set that you love, do it. But the people who always speak to me as a producer, the people who always speak to me as a spectator and as a fan and a fellow practitioner are those people anytime, any rules, any place. Because I think those people bring the type of matches we all get excited to see. And if we can help in any small way, myself or our team, to help provide those matches for you to see, I think we're doing our part to contribute in the small way that we can for the sport. And that's what makes me excited. So that is my one little thing that I really was I was truly happy with. I think in a way that's hard to describe is when you see everybody get excited to go compete and they have a great tournament and they tell you they had a great time. They tell you they like submission only. They tell you they felt that everybody was pretty chill, and you're going to have problems, but for the most part, everybody seemed to understand. And if you guys do have constructive criticism, don't fail to email me, raf@ussgl.com. Honestly, we will take it into consideration. And Kevin knows I qualify all of my research very carefully. So I will 100% take it into consideration. If we think it's great notes, we will implement it and be better. Because just like in jiu-jitsu, if you don't listen to good advice long enough, you never get better.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the advantages we have in this sport to other people. So, having said all that, again, the biggest shout out of them all going to my compadres over at the LA Jiu-Jitsu Club and Blair Green. That is Drew Murillo. That is Octavio Villanueva. That is Joey House. And that is Eric Medina. I think we combined powers to make Captain Planet work this week. Except Captain Planet had nothing to do with the environment and mostly just run a tournament, which who knew? I'd like to think I was fire if I was any of the different things. I was either fire or earth. I haven't figured out which. Eric's definitely heart because he's boring.
There you go.
But there's that. So we hope to see you guys in Fresno. If you like it, please share that with people. If you really like our tournament, go rate us on Facebook. That's 5 stars on Facebook for the USSGL. And if you want to come compete, I'd love to see you there. Come say hello again. We're going to be in Fresno. We're going to have a great time, and we're going to make it truly something that you'll enjoy. So once we get through with that one on the 4th of June, then we are going to get right back on it, and we'll be planning our next event, which, by the way, hint, hint, I think we're already looking into. And I'm not going to give too much away, but I think it's in Southern California in a place we haven't necessarily been to host a tournament yet. Maybe further south. I'm just saying I don't know things. Okay, we'll see.
Tijuana? Wait, hold on.
Well, that would be amazing.
That's my bad.
If we had one. Okay. 16 competitors go, 8 come back.
Yeah.
But we know that myself, Octavio, would be left behind in Mexico, so I don't know if that would really work either. Anyway, that's my nice note to all of you guys. Thank you so much. Come find me at Worlds this week. I'm going to have some patches on me. We're selling patches for $10. It's pretty simple. They're nice. I might even try and sew them on your gi as you're competing. I don't know that IBJJF will allow it, but I'll still try to. But yeah, I'll have them on me, and come find me or message me. You guys know where to find me at Verbal Tabcast on basically everything. And I think, Kev, that is going to do it. Oh, and my sister Chris, who is the best. Period. She just did everything for photos, for all of the help that we could have over the weekend, driving everywhere. She is the best. Done.
There we go. That's going to do it for us here tonight at Verbal Tap. I'm Kevin. Thanks for listening.
Good night and good fight.
The number you have dialed is not in service at this time.